Hello, I'm Sweetie Biscuit, and this is my submission for Crypt the NecroDancer Amplified Coda All Zones. Coda has made an appearance in a previous GDQ, but that was before the Amplified DLC, which made a number of changes to the game. Beyond obviously adding an additional zone and a bunch of new items, it removed the Ring of Phasing, which was the key component to the run before DLC. With the removal of phasing, the run changes considerably and is a lot more challenging all the way throughout, consistently throughout the run. So definitely worth looking at. Let's, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start this playback of this this random run I just recorded. And let's go ahead. So Coda, for those who aren't familiar with NecroDancer, NecroDancer is a turn-based dungeon crawler with a turn count, with a turn timer that is essentially tied to the music. Normally you collect a whole bunch of different weapons and just go on time with the coordinates, but Coda combines a number of challenge characters together. Arya, who only has the short-range dagger weapon, has no health, just half a heart, so anything kills her in one hit, and can't miss beats without dying. In addition to Bolt, who runs the game at double tempo, and Monk, who can't pick up gold. If you pick up gold, you die. So all those combined makes Coda. She's the most challenging character in the game, and I believe, to my knowledge, with the Amplified DLC installed, I think the number of people who have beaten Coda is somewhere around the range of 30 players or so. Keep in mind, the game has been out and was very popular for a while, and has been out since, I believe, like 2015, so it's, considering the game's gone on that long, it really is a testament to how difficult she is. So back there, most of the Zone 1 play is going to be spent just going out of the way a little bit to try and get items to make things a little bit more consistent. While you can't get a new weapon, you're stuck with the dagger, you can get plenty of good supporting gear, and while you die in one hit, you can get items that completely prevent damage altogether, like the Heavy Glass, which will block 3 hits of damage, which does allow for a little bit of margin of error on Coda. That said, the damage from missing a beat ignores armor, so there are still plenty of ways to die. Gold completely overrides any sort of death protection, so even with all these items, it is still certainly not entirely safe. One of the most important items I picked up in Zone 1 there is the Ring of Peace. The Ring of Peace gives you an extra heart, which obviously is not applicable here, but it also makes mini-bosses their weakest versions and reduces the number of enemies per room. Obviously, in a character as challenging as this, any sort of enemy reduction or difficulty reduction is very, very welcome. So, yeah, Peace. Definitely the best ring in the game for Coda, arguably the best item in the game for her altogether. So, I've also got the sunglasses, which is actually a little bit of a trade-off item. Gives +1 damage, but silhouettes all the enemies, making things just a little bit harder to interpret on the fly. Continuing to do a little bit of farming up, because I do want to try and get a damage up that, won't have that downside of the sunglasses, because the other damage ups on the head slot for Coda are Spiked Ears and Glass Jaw, which have their own downsides, but they're downsides that aren't relevant on Coda, because Spiked Ears break if you missed a beat, which Coda herself breaks if she misses a beat, so that doesn't matter so much. There's no additional risk there. And Glass Jaw breaks if you take a hit, but doubles your damage output, and obviously if you're taking damage on Coda, you're already dead. So again, a downside that does not hold any relevance beyond her initial challenge. So both of those would allow me to get the damage up that the sunglasses are providing without the silhouette effect. So I'm looking for that. Don't really find anything, but I do get grenades back. I did get grenades back in the start of the zone, which the grenade charm changes your bomb from a stationary 4 damage bomb with a 3-beat fuse to a thrown 6 damage bomb with a 1-beat fuse. It's a very powerful item, especially when you combine it with the bomb charm. I'm checking the red chests there, because red chests have charms and torches, and one of the other thing I would like is the glass torch, which will show me the position of all enemies on the map. I take the monocle, which shows me the position of all items on the map, in the hopes that I'll find it, but it shows me a glass shrine immediately, which converts all applicable items that you currently have equipped into glass, so that does get me both the glass jaw I was looking for damage up, and the glass torch for the enemy vision. A little bit of a dilemma there, Blast Helm versus map. I wouldn't take the Blast Helm whip, but the first time you pick up Blast Helm, you do get 3 bombs, which is potentially very valuable. But I ultimately go for the full map, just to have a clear vision of where I'm going and how to route floors. So, going into Conga fight here, the throne Conga sits on is a tier 3 wall, so with that glass shovel I can dig it out and skip the need to kill the Conga lines. He's only invincible as long as both his throne and the Conga lines remain. As long as one of them's gone, you can kill him. So I do get that Bomb Charm I was talking about. So now Bomb Charm makes you immune to your own bombs and increases the blast radius of them to a 5x5 square. Combine that with the Grenade Charm, and that means you can just kind of whip grenades into a room and have it clear the whole thing out. It's going to be very helpful here in Zone 4, which is a very difficult place. Zone 4 has the most challenging technical set of enemies, a lot of complicated movements, and if you ever misread them, there's a good chance you could step on the gold that enemies drop on accident, or just take hits. So the Bomb Charm, Grenade Charm combination, very strong here. But still do have to make sure I'm not dropping beats, make sure I'm not stepping on gold, make sure I'm not taking too many hits. I do have to watch for the ooze hazards as well. The ooze on the floor will inflict the shrunk status, which disables digs and attacks. If you have certain kinds of footwear, you can ignore it, but I don't have any footwear, so obviously that's very much a threat to me. If I do try to attack or dig with the while standing on the ooze and shrunk, that will count as a misbeat and I'll die. It's important to note, misbeats don't just entail missing a command for a beat. Any sort of invalid action, like trying to dig a wall you can't dig, or attack an enemy you can't attack, will result in a multiplier drop, which does kick in the misbeat death. So Deep Blue's very complicated boss, lots of moving pieces, can be a little tough to follow, but as long as you have the damage to one-shot all the pieces, it's generally not too hard. I could have, in theory, just thrown a grenade right at the start of the fight, but that would have been my last grenade, and you do have to be careful that you don't block yourself out from the exit in that fight with gold. That's one of the biggest challenges with that fight, is not putting yourself off from the exit. So we approach Zone 5. Despite coming after Zone 4, it's honestly considerably easier. You have this wire that you can walk on, and it gives all of your attacks, all your melee attacks, a chain lightning effect that can take out large groups of enemies all at once. So definitely helps make things easier. A little bit complicated of a pair of enemies there, so I just popped the freeze spell to make it a little easier to deal with. And yeah, combined with the piece, these big open exit rooms have a lot of empty space, and you can just kind of run around the enemies like that. So final boss, the fastest boss in the game, fastest song in the game at 175 BPM, which doubles to 350, which is nearly 6 taps a second. I don't really have a convenient way to kill it quickly, but so it is a little bit of a scary fight, but with one poke for 4 damage and then a grenade for 6, I can take out his 9 health pool, and that's the end of the run. 740 is a pretty solid time. It's I'm pretty sure that's like a top 5 time. That said, I will have a much longer estimate out in place, because this this run very realistically does have a very non-zero chance of dying and needing to restart, because this is a roguelike, which means that if I die at any point, I have to start back at the beginning. So I will have a higher estimate to account for the possibility of a death or two. And even then, it definitely is a risky run to put in a marathon setting, but that said, it is easily the most impressive, highest showcase of skill you can put up on screen for this game. And yeah, it went over extremely well when it was pre-DLC, and it was a much easier run. It was considered one of the more impressive runs of that GDQ. So with player skill having evolved so much and the game having gotten harder, this run is definitely sure to be impressive, and I hope you guys consider it. Thank you so much.